So, first things first, taking a very logical approach to this.
Mathematical approach.
Mathematical approach. The United Kingdom hasn't left the European Union. Only part of the United Kingdom has left the EU. Northern Ireland has, to a very significant extent, been left behind. And we know that because we've got judicial rulings which prove it. That means that the UK can't have a bonfire of legal regulations in the way that we might have been able to if we left the EU as one United Kingdom. The Northern Ireland will never get what we in Great Britain get. And the more we cut laws and diverge from the EU and Great Britain, the bigger the chasm becomes between Northern Ireland and Great Britain. Yeah. And I think part of the problem that Rishi Sunak is facing, it's only part of the problem, because I don't think he really cares that much for Northern Ireland, is creating that chasm and therefore emphasising the Irish Sea border, the partition that the Conservative Party has created between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And then the other thing that is really important to remember, which again doesn't get enough airtime, is that in the Trade and Cooperation Agreement which we signed with the EU, we signed up to alignment on state aid, competition, employment and environmental laws, such as they were at the time of when we left the single market on 31st December 2020. Even though I only enumerated 4 bits of legislation, they are really key parts of our legislative framework: state aid, competition, employment and environment. And so we can't really diverge in the way that we would wish to if we were putting British national interest first. We simply can't do it. As long as people understand that, I think they will appreciate the difficulty the government therefore has in cutting other legislation back. But there is other legislation they can cut back, for example, financial services, where we didn't have a deal with the EU, and where Jeremy Hunt quite sensibly is ditching Solvency II, or says he's going to ditch Solvency II, and has launched these Edinburgh reforms, which is a review of a number of different EU-inspired financial services regulations. And it actually shines a brilliant light, Michelle, on how beneficial it would have been if we'd left without a deal, because financial services can now do what they want, and we, the rest of the country, can't. And so what I would say to people who say Brexit isn't working, we're not cutting enough laws, etc., is it's not Brexit. It's because we haven't Brexited. It's because the UK hasn't left the EU.
Not enough Brexit.
Well, it's not a matter of degrees. I think that's a trap. If you get into a debate about degrees of Brexit, you end up having to debate whether the kind of Brexit we got was right or not.
I'm not going to get into degrees. I don't have a GCSE in maths.
We simply haven't Brexited.